welcome back to Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones recap show that's all about the ladies. Here are our current standings. In dead last, we still have Cersei Lannister with -5, followed closely by Ellaria Sand and Ygritte, who have half a point and 1 point respectively. After that, we have Daenerys Targaryen with 3, followed by Margaery with 3.5. Sansa Stark has 5 points. Brienne of Tarth is currently in 3rd place with 7, followed by Arya in 2nd place with 8, and Olenna Tyrell takes the lead with 10. So again, we'll start with talking about Margaery. Her major scene in this particular episode was her interaction with Cersei, wherein, we'll get to Cersei later, but you thought Cersei was gonna come kind of bitch her out. Cersei said, "You still mourn for Joffrey." And Marjorie's like, "Well, of course, he was my husband." And then they have this great moment where Cersei admits that Joffrey was a little shit, basically. Margaery could have really been thrown off, I think, by her interaction with Cersei, where Cersei, instead of being a jerk to her, was like, "You should think about marrying Common."
Yeah. Right?
And Margaery just went,
well, we'll see.
Oh, I don't.
Too soon. It's just
too soon. So I say that Margaery deserves a point simply for remaining unshaken by an unpredictable turn of events. Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah. We're looking at someone who thought they had freed all these people, was literally carried on a sea of people cheering her name, and things are not going her way. And her first response is not to be upset. It's not to freak out. It's to say, okay, well, I guess I'll just stay here and fix things for a little bit, and then I'll go rule the rest of the world.
And I think that Daenerys brings up a very valid point when she's talking with Jorah Mormont about her decision to remain behind, which is, if I go back to Westeros, why would anybody follow me? She understands that in order to be a queen, she needs to basically earn the respect of her subjects.
I give her a point for listening to a very smart advisor.
Yeah!
Jorah Mormont knows what he's talking
He
about.
does.
When Jorah gives her advice, it's generally really solid advice, and she was smart enough to ask for it. Yeah. 2 points.
Yeah, 2 points for Daenerys.
Yeah.
Cersei Lannister. As previously discussed in regards to Margaery, Cersei made a very unexpected move.
One of the other really interesting things that has been pointed out to me about this is an about-face in terms of what Cersei will allow Margaery to say to her. In a previous episode, when Margaery refers to Cersei as sister, she's told that she will be killed. And in this one, they actually have a chuckle together. They're actually getting they're court getting along. They still wanna destroy each other.
Oh, absolutely.
But they actually have a very friendly conversation.
Not only does she take an unexpected turn with Margaery, she also has an interaction with Oberyn, which is very contrary to her previous interaction with him. This time she's, having a conversation with him and asking about her daughter, who is of course in Dorne. The other big thing to Cersei's credit this episode was, Lord Tywin revealed to her that the Lannisters are broke. Cersei, prior to that conversation, had already kind of eased her way in with Margaery, and the Tyrells are really rich. And also, she's kind of fostering an alliance with the Martells.
Yes.
Which, fortunately, Myrcella already is supposed to marry a Martell, but she's really fostering those relationships and also saying, okay, sure, yeah, I guess I'll marry Sir Loras. Yeah. Basically strengthening alliances with 2 very wealthy and powerful families. I say 1 point to Cersei for the Martells and 1 for the Tyrells.
Nana Tyrell walked across the stage, looked great.
It's great.
No points.
Yeah.
No points.
Sansa Stark. We see Sansa walk into this situation, and this is one of her only living family members is her Aunt Lysa. Yeah. And she comes in, and Aunt Lysa's like, "Oh, of course I know who you are." She's so kind to her, and then as soon as Sansa leaves, she starts making out with Littlefinger, and is like, "God, we paid enough attention to her for tonight."
Yeah. When are we gonna get in the bones?
Right, and then in the next scene accuses Sansa of sleeping with Peter Baelish. Really, they're driving the point home right now that Sansa is completely alone.
Yeah.
Completely.
And she's gonna have to learn to fend for herself, which
she's handling it.
Yeah,
she's doing the best she can right now.
Yes, she definitely is.
Well, and it's the same thing that's worked for her in a lot of other situations, is where she just is very transparently like, I am courtly. I am, of course, everything is going the way you want it to go. Why else would it go that way, Aunt Lysa? I love you. Everything's great. And her courtesy is her weapon. I'm not, she doesn't get any points for it because she's still in a really bad place.
No.
But, her aunt is in Crazy Town, USA, and she has to listen to the loudest, grossest sex this side of a Nevada Motel 6.
So no points for Sansa this week. Arya Stark.
I think she deserves a point because she toad stabbed the Hound. Nothing
Yeah.
happened, but
I give her a gumption point for like taking a, that's worth a shot.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
One for Arya.
One for Arya, because you know what? Yeah, stab that dude, whatever.
Brienne of Tarth. I don't know that she gets any points this week, but
No.
man, her little adventure with Pod is just great.
I want someone to write a theme song about it. Viewers, I'm talking to you.
We still love you, Brienne, even if you don't get any points
And you
this
look
week.
great in your armor.
Yeah.
And finally, we still have Ygritte and Ellaria on the board, but since we put them on the board, they haven't been on the show. Well, that concludes this episode of Game of Thrones. Thank you so much to everyone who's voted thus far. Please continue to vote. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter at NerdStreet. We're on Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram. All of those are great places for you to continue to cast your votes who you think should receive points in this episode of Game of Thrones. So keep voting, guys. Keep watching, and we'll see you all next week.